Welcome back to another episode of the Generation Elevation podcast. Now, today I am joined by a very special guest, and I'm so grateful to have him here with me just because his impact worldwide alone is absolutely incredible. This human has over 1 million social media followers across all platforms. He's a chef sharing his incredible creations and content around the world. And guys, his content is addictive. Like once you get scrolling, you're like, whoa, this is insane. This man is on a mission, and his authentic, creative way of imagining content and sharing that with the world is so inspiring. And I'm really excited for him to be on this show today to share his story with you all. So with that said, I would like to introduce to you Jordan Villam, aka Notty Chef. Hello.
One introduction, that was beautiful, Jesus. I'm blushing at it. Nice to see you, nice to be here. I've been here before, but in a very different sort of space. So we talked about this for time. It's nice to actually be doing it.
Yes, the space that is this podcast room is also where sometimes I have clients and facilitate my breathwork and meditation sessions. And how we met was you actually came to one of my big Elevate events, right?
Yeah. I think like approaching social media, it's always good to have different ways to look at it. And I think like the spiritual aspect of any work you do, I think there's, especially when you're making something that doesn't exist, there's such a spiritual aspect and a side of things of like tapping into different realms spiritually, and then unlocks like different bits.
I'm grateful for you, and it's so special to be here and we can kind of hash it out exactly what your journey has been, how we've come across each other, and how that then is going to help you propel forward, and myself too. Like, I really believe it's an equal balance, an equal energy exchange, you being here. So I'm excited for this episode today. Yeah, it already is. So for the listeners, though, that have no idea who you are, maybe they don't even follow your Instagram, which, by the way, we will plug at the very end, right? Why would they keep listening to this episode? Like, why should they stay listening?
I think personally, my journey to social media has been like a super interesting one, because I'm around a lot of creatives all the time, and a normal journey for a social media creator is like either it happened at the back of a TV show or it was during lockdown and stuff. And these are all great things. Like being a social media creator is such like a flourishing industry right now. But for me, it was a slight bit different. I used to be a proper chef when I was a teenager, and maybe get into that. When I was 18, I jumped into social media. No clue. TikTok wasn't a thing. And I did YouTube for like 3 years. And in that time period, when you're 18, you care what the world thinks of you so much more than you do when you get maybe a bit older and older and older. You know, it felt like the whole world were all my friends looking at me, and I was just failing for a year, and then 2 years, and 3 years. And we can say these sentences and these things of like, oh yeah, I didn't succeed for 3 years. But then when you actually put that into like days and hours and weeks of like putting videos out that are cringy and embarrassing and no one's watching, and you walk into rooms and everyone's tapping each other and they're like, oh, Mr. YouTuber, are you still doing your thing? And then like you still just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And then you get to a place where all of a sudden it does start working. It's a very beautiful thing. So I think I gained a lot of knowledge in really being driven of how to get to like a goal and working through that. And I'd love to be able to like inspire and teach others on how to how to maybe achieve your dreams if you're struggling, get through those humps. And yeah, man, because you just got to believe in yourself. Whoever you are watching, I believe in you. You just got to believe in yourself.
100%. And I know those will be tuning in right now are either having their own business and wanting to grow their social media following, or people who are wanting to be in like the social media creator space. So there might even be people listening to this, like, for example, some of my family members that like have no idea what being a social media creator involves. They just listen to my podcast. So let's just really make it simple. What is a social media creator, so that we can have like the base for people? Is that?
Oh, I've never had to answer this. A social media creator is someone that possibly takes their passion or business and makes short form or long form videos out of it that people will watch. And it's how you do that, the psychology behind it, is how many people you can reach.
And what is the difference between someone who is successful at that, right? For example, you do this for your work, right? But then other people who are just posting online.
I think it comes back to the mindset of it. Social media is psychology. It is the ability to retain attention. Now, how do you do that? For me, it was just years and years of trial and error. And I think, to be honest, that's probably the best way to do it. So, you take something very simple as pouring milk in a jug, okay? That doesn't really grasp your attention. Whereas if I get milk now and I pour it like this, all of a sudden, it just, it sparks attention more. So if you do this frame by frame by frame by frame, the psychology just grabs people in. It's like how Mr. Beast does it. You look at his videos and you almost can't not watch it. It's how like the biggest podcasters start the bit of their podcast, like Stephen Bartlett comes to mind, of like, it's the best bits, and it's like there's always something gone wrong or whatever, it's like, it's how can you pull people in? And I think that is the key to social media. It's slight extremism. It's tapping into our like dark natures as humans. We tend to like, extreme things we haven't seen before. You can go on a slippery slope of like some dark stuff of,
Negative psychology can be a huge one. I've seen a lot of creators say something really negative that is the hook, and then for the rest of the whole reel or TikTok video, it's like completely positive, but the negative hook grabs people's attention, right?
Yeah, exactly. And when you're playing with negativity, it's a slippery slope, because if you lean into that, there's a thing called Flanderism, which is you become cartoon, an exaggerated cartoon of the thing you once were. It came from, Flanders from The Simpsons. He started off like the jolly neighbor, and then if you look at like Flanders' journey, now he's like this almost, it's this exaggerated version of the thing he once was. And if you look at the flipping Notty Chef, if you look at me, that's like what I've become, but in a cooking sense. I started off pouring, and now it's like this. That's Flanderism. It's an exaggerated cartoon version of like the thing that once was. But if you go to a dark space with that, then you're always leaning into like controversy and fighting, and it's just not a nice space to be. Be careful.
Yeah, and it's like, if we talk about energy, which I do a lot on this show, right, what you put out is what you get back. So if you're constantly leaning into energy that is of aggression, anger, fear, scarcity, right, that's only going to come back to you tenfold. I truly believe that. So I think that the content that you put out there is really fun and authentic and engaging. Like, I haven't seen many other chefs. And plus, like, even though I know you, right, I actually genuinely enjoy your content and would probably follow you even if we weren't friends. So for me, I really love the energy that you put out there. But how have you stayed so positive throughout this whole journey? Because like you said, it's been years of trial and error. And I know there'll be people listening to this hustling hard on that passion of theirs, whether it be cooking, whether it be fitness, whether it be whatever their business is that they're creating, or even just like their hobby in general. How do you stay at this for so long? Like, surely maybe you lose motivation from time to time.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful question. I think the most important thing that's carried me through is my environment. It's who I hold around me. I've got a group of friends that are like my brothers, and I can count them on my hand. And then I've got my mum. It created like a belief system around me. So, when times did get hard, it wasn't ever like, there was no if this would work. It was just like a matter of time. And I was never, although everyone on the outer surface thought I was crazy, like my core people just knew that it would inevitably happen. So, I'm proper grateful them. I think like for everyone watching, if you are starting a business or you're doing social media, if there's any like toxicity, even if it's your closest people, sometimes it's your flipping family, you have to get rid of that, because it eats you alive. I was lucky enough to have something to run towards, which was my, mum's belief, and then something to run away from, which was like other people in my life, which was their lack of belief, so I had to get rid of them and run away from that and then run towards the belief. So yeah, man. And that all being said, it also comes from within. You have to like truly believe in yourself and practice that however you do that, I like to visualize. Sometimes I like to make a special set an ice bath and then sit in the ice bath with the tea and like visualize. It's a very crazy thing. Like,
it's not crazy. I mean, just if you listen to some of these episodes on my show, like it gets a whole crazy. And we love it. We love that stuff here. And what comes to mind just to top that off, right? When I was watching the Michael Jordan documentary, like obviously he's incredible and his history of playing like basketball has been amazing. When he first started, what really stood out to me was the point when he told everyone in his circle, look, I'm going all in on this dream, this vision that I have. Do not talk to me. I will not talk to you for the next 3 years. It was something like that. And people got upset. People were sad. People were frustrated, annoyed at him for how dare he not talk to me or not hang out while he went after his dream and goal, projecting that onto him. Where obviously the people that were meant to stay or that did end up staying were his people, and the ones that didn't stay, they got upset, they got triggered, they weren't his people. And it was just that what you just said now, it's like if you go all in on that goal, that dream that you have, it's become very clear who is with you and who is actually not helping you progress.
Yeah, 100%.
So what would then be your advice for people who may be experiencing a lack of belief in those circles? Because it is hard to just cut off your partner or cut off your family members, right, if they're not believing in you. So if someone's going through this right now, what would be like 3 pieces of advice for them?
I think you have to be so deluded and allow everyone to almost view you like a crazy person until it works, and then you become a genius. But to be honest, I think you're the best person to answer that question, because you're someone that, like, maybe you didn't cut off people in a negative way or whatever, but like, started off a million miles away and now you're in a completely different habitat. You're in the UK and it's like you had to cut a lot of things off. You had to cut a lot of people and cultures and just everything. So like, how did you find doing that?
I love this. Thank you, by the way. A lot of the questions I ask, like I know what I would answer, but I also like to hear it from my guests. And I think for those that are listening and are going through, like even you mentioned bullying while you were trying to go after your dreams and goals. What came to my mind is when I was 18, I created my Instagram account, Elise Riley, and I was posting content and I was doing YouTube, and I even had my partner at the time cringe so hard about my YouTube channel, and like he refused to be recorded. He refused to have anything to do with it. He hated that I had this channel, and it really got to me. Like it really sucked. And then when I started working on my mindset, it would trigger a lot of people because I was so happy. Like they thought that I was on something to be at that level of happiness, or that, I'd get comments like, not everyone has sunshine and rainbows coming out of their backside, or things like this, right? And when it comes from the people that are closest to you, it's to know that projection or perception is projection. Perception is projection. So whatever anyone is projecting onto you, it really just is a reflection of what's going on internally within them. Because we all have a filter of our brain and we all see our reality and our experience based off our beliefs, our values, our upbringing, our personality of our own self. So the people that are closest to you, like birds of feather flock together, will have similar beliefs and values. But when you decide to change, when you decide to go all in, when you decide to become a famous creator, when you decide to become an incredible podcast host or breathwork facilitator, or you travel to the other side of the world, or do whatever it is that your heart desires, and you are surrounded by people who block themselves from doing that, they're going to project all of their shit onto you. And just know that it is not personal, because it's okay. I've got goosebumps. It's okay to love someone and let them go. To know that You don't have to carry them with you. You do not have to drop down to lift them up, because one person that is in alignment to their heart, to their soul's mission, is more powerful than 100 who aren't. And that is why we need more people like yourself, more people like you guys listening to this episode right now who are curious about elevating. It's because when you are at your highest vibration, and what I mean by that is experiencing joy and love and peace within yourself, you inspire others to come with you. And at first you might have those projections, but if you hold the light, you're going to shine everything on everyone's shadows. So they're going to be triggered at first, but then eventually, like a butterfly to a mosquito lamp or a bright light, the butterflies will come. So will the moths. And it's just up to you what you decide to let in. Shine your light regardless. Do not drop or dim it to help others, because you actually are doing the opposite when you do that. Stay in your lane, stay in your light, and eventually they will come.
I think it is so right in what you're saying. Like you can be the person to change everyone around you life. Like I've got this thing that me and my boys say, because it's been a running joke, because when I was in the flipping trenches of like 2 years in and no one is watching me and it's like depressing, all I would say to everyone is like, it only takes one of us. It only takes one of us. Like I'd say that to Omar, my best friend. Like it only takes one of us. And that was like, it only takes one of us to become a millionaire or to be like big on socials or whatever. And like, you know, I still carry this almost like a joke, but like, I promise you, if you be your authentic self, it's crazy what the influence in which you have on the people around you. It's profound. Like I've seen it firsthand of like when you step into like really trying to create something that doesn't exist, it almost aggravates people around you, but in a good way, because you almost wake people up in the sense of like, oh, fuck, like Jordan's just out here like really trying. It makes people self-reflect of like, I'm not. So like I've seen my boys like really step into a space of following their passions, and like we all just do it. We all just follow our passions. You know, they do amazing things, my boys. And yeah, man, I get inspired of them. They get inspired of me. So take the first step. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so here's a really fun question then. Let's say you were to start from zero followers, start all over again from scratch. What would you do?
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I've just stepped into streaming on Twitch, and right now I am doing it to 2 people. And the other day I did my 3rd ever live stream, and I went to All Points East. And I got invited by Meta, so it's all the creators, and these are some big boy creators. And we all met at the pub around the corner. And I pulled up in my car outside the pub, knowing that I had to attach my phone to my shitty little tripod, like my thing that I hold, walk into this pub where everyone's going to look at me, knowing no one's going to be watching on Twitch, and how embarrassing. And it took me back to these YouTube days of like, oh my God. And just my stomach was churning, and I procrastinated in the car, and I did it anyway. I walked in, and like everyone's like, Jay, what you doing? I'm like, hey, man, I'm a Twitch streamer now. But like, you know, I think it is just, if I started at 0, which I actively am now, it's please just do it. It's the hardest thing in the world. Just do it and fail. I promise you, if you're doing social media, your first 100 videos are going to be crap. You know, if you're starting a business, your first product, your first anything is going to be so rubbish. You know, it's the journey in which you, and the lessons in which you learn during this journey, that you will constantly reflect on. I constantly talk about the 3 years that I spent in my bedroom editing YouTube videos. It's the biggest reflection that I have. I don't really chat about the time we hit 100K in a day, and then 200K, and then we hit 300K, and I had like 300,000. I don't really talk about that. Do you know what I mean? What did I gain? That was a cool moment. Gain much, but during those 3 years, I just gained so much in knowledge. And I promise you, when you put 2 to 3 years of work into something that doesn't pay you back, when it starts to, you will be so tenacious, and you will become someone that you didn't even recognize, that when the wins do come in, you'll be so highly motivated, and the momentum will be coming so much that no one or nothing can stop you. So I hope you fail, man. That's all I can say. I really do hope you fail, for a little bit anyway.
You know, I really love this, and I saw a quote the other day. I think I mentioned it on another episode, but I'm going to say it again just in case. I know you haven't heard it, but if your audience hasn't heard it as well. And it goes something like, the one who fails more is closer to success than the one who doesn't try at all. And I think too many people are afraid to fail. And once upon a time, that was me. I had such a perfectionist mindset. And I thought that because I was positive, that I had a growth mindset. But that's not necessarily the case. The most positive, ambitious people like to stay at the things that they're good at and hate doing the things that they're not good at. You know how I figured this out about myself? Because I used to hate running. And I would avoid it because I wasn't good at it. Not because I hated it. I hated it because I wasn't good at it. And I was used to being good at most things. So I thought, well, what's the point of going for a run when I'm not going to enjoy it anyway because I wasn't good? But that's not the point. The point is to practice so then you do get good and then you will find it enjoyable. And that is what I did. I made it a mission of mine to do everything that I really didn't like to do. And that meant spreadsheets, tracking my income. It meant going for runs, hitting more than 3 kilometers when I did go do that, doing the exercises in the gym that I didn't enjoy, and made it my mission to be good at them. And what I found doing that experiment was I unlocked a new level of resilience in myself because the neural pathways in my brain got used to doing things that I found hard, which actually made doing hard things easy. Does that make sense? And it relates to what you've been talking about too. The hard thing is showing up regardless, even if there's 0 people or if there's millions, and doing the thing anyway. And I really love what you said. I hope you fail, because like in today's world, everyone I feel is scared of that. And we're creating this beautiful safety around knowing that failure isn't actually a bad thing. It's actually just feedback.
I think as well, like to circle back to what you said about Michael Jordan a minute ago, is there's another like famous quote of, if you actually go and look at someone like Michael Jordan's stats, the amount of shots he missed is phenomenal. Like you would be like, this guy's a professional, but it's like you don't remember the failures. Like you only remember all the times that Michael Jordan hit those hoops and those great moments, and that's just the same of like whatever you're doing. No one on this earth, apart from like maybe my boys, know about the YouTube days unless I tell you. They just assume that Jordan got lucky. Jordan, like Jordan's just good at it. They don't see. I've been doing this stuff for 8 years. And like for flipping 3 of those years, I didn't get paid a penny. So, but no one sees any of that. No one sees the failures. Even to this day, like I ain't perfect. I put out some content, it fails. I'm constantly learning and things are shifting, but no one really sees that shit. People see like the big collab I did last week or the country I flew to, but they don't see all the times that I constantly still fail. But I'm just so callous to it. I'm callous to failing on short form on the thing that I do that it's literally nothing. So yeah, man, fail and fail forward.
What was something that you created that you thought would fail but actually succeeded?
That's a great question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is really how I got a platform on Instagram, because I was posting. So I still do. I've got a series called Fuck That's Vegan.
It's incredible.
I appreciate that. I'm not a vegan, by the way.
I was going to ask you that too.
Yeah, no, I ain't vegan. I used to be a bit vegan here and there, but and I was a proper chef. And
your series on Instagram makes me want to be vegan, just for a day, maybe, just to try.
So try it for a day. Yeah,
your food only, though.
Well, you can have it. So what was your original question before that?
So what was something that you thought would fail but succeeded?
Yeah, and so I was posting, Fuck That's Vegans consistently, and they were doing well on TikTok, and I, was obviously posting them on Instagram as well, and just posting and then this one day, because I've got this bit of a superstition, I post and log out. It's not, don't do it, it's just my thing, my stupid thing. I did it, and then I go back on, and like this Fuck That's Vegan hit like 10 million views, and it just flipping took off, and then from that I was in the algorithm, and yeah, I was posting my Fuck That's Vegan, and from, this is the thing, from posting the same exact videos a week prior, they were getting like 200 views. And then a week later, they were getting like 2 million views, but the content was the same. And that's exactly why everything links into self-belief, because the product in which I was pushing out was no different. Do you know what I mean? But the only difference was the amount of people seeing it. So that goes to what we say about the failures and stuff. It's like, well, were my videos a week ago, were they failures? Because it's exactly the same content. So what actually is a failure? Because especially when it comes to like maybe short form content, because if your scale is the amount of people that see it, well, then you're just running a hamster wheel. You're never actually going to be happy, because, you know, what I did and what I do and what I produced was exactly the same stuff, but it's just the frame in which it was put in was different. So, you know, that should emotionally affect me differently. No, I should be happy that I made the content, you know, I had a vision, I executed it, and I put it out. That's the win. So is there a failure in anything that you do? You know, now that I'm doing Twitch, because only 2 people are watching, is that a failure? I don't think so. With this, if you make art and no one buys it, or if you start a business and no one looks at it, like, I don't know if anything is a failure, because at least, you know, you're actually doing something. Yeah.
What do you think actually changed on the inside for you throughout that period? So, like, 1 week you're getting 200 views, the next you got 10 million plus. Was there anything that you did differently with your beliefs or like visualization process that you noticed facilitated that change, or was it just so random?
I think it's funny when you get to that point. There was nothing internal that I did that changed. I think, if I can remember this a few years ago, I initially got happy and then it became the norm, you know? So like, if you're doing business or short form social media or whatever, there's a whole underbelly to it. There's a whole emotional underbelly. There's a whole spiritual underbelly. There's a physical underbelly that you have to like be very mindful and look after, because, you know, just like anyone that does social media, my emotions have been directly affected by the views on a screen, which is mad. Do you know what I mean? That is the most craziest thing, that, you know, 1 million views wouldn't get me happy because that was my baseline. But like, oh, that video only hit 200K. 200,000 people. It's like, that's something I would cry at when I was 18-year-old Jay. So it's like, yeah, you've just got to be regulated of yourself, like during the journey that you're on.
So what would be then a step-by-step process that you would take yourself through, maybe even a ritual, before you post, so that you're not so influenced emotionally by the outcome or result of each post?
My personal ritual, I don't suggest this for anyone for algorithmic purposes. Like, it's probably not the best thing to do, and also just whatever. But I make the video, I post it, I log out of Instagram, and I never look at the video again. If you look, the only time that I reply to comments is normally from the inner workings of like someone behind the scenes replying. It's normally like a bot, because we're doing like an automation, but I literally never look at it because it can just affect me too much. Wow. You know? Like, I'm like, oh, this only got 100K, or great, this got 2 mil. Like, and it's just, your emotions fluctuate too much. I produce content, that's what I like. I don't really care who watches it. Although I do, like, I don't care the amount of people that watch it.
Yeah, well, they're obviously loving it. I love it. And I know that everyone listening is going to enjoy too. It's interesting what you said about you log out and you never look at it again, because I do a similar thing, not logging out, but for my podcast. And I learned this from a mentor when I first started podcasting, was to record, never listen to it back unless you're editing it. Once it's out there, it's done, and create again. Because if you're a perfectionist, or if you really care about what you're creating and you like things to be a specific way, which I totally do, right? What happens is you become so finicky that you never actually get the content out there in the first place. And what I learned from this mentor was just create, get it out, create, get it out, create, get it out. It doesn't matter as long as you're getting it out. And otherwise you won't get anything out at all. And that is why I have nearly like 150 plus episodes on my show, is because I don't listen back to it. I just create, minimal editing, get it out, done. And then we just continue doing the same thing. And like you said, what are we going to talk about today? I was literally like, I don't know. Let's just wing it and see what happens. And that's what I do when I'm with guests, is aim to cultivate something imperfect but authentic and real, so that listeners can tune in and feel like they're a part of the conversation too. It reminded me of what you said about just get it out there. Just do it. Do the thing that you love, which is, for me, it's the conversing and connecting, and then the posting later. Leave that to the universe, leave that to the algorithm. So yeah, you mentioned visualization as well as a part of your process, maybe not exactly your ritual before you post, but I know that you're a very powerful visualizer in terms of manifestation and creating. So do you have a process in the way that you do that you could maybe share with the audience today?
Man, I share everything. I'm an open book. I think for me, that I don't know why I'm so obsessed with social media, but I always have been, okay? I love it. I love creating, and I'm very dyslexic, so I can't really write things down. Like it looks like hieroglyphics, innit? But there's so much that goes into my work, what I do, that people just wouldn't be able to fathom. Like everything that I eat, I fast. Last year I did a 3-day fast every month, which got me like, I felt like in touch with something. And my main thing is the sauna. So like, when I sit in the sauna, I promise you I can like shut my eyes and I can see the things that I need to do. So like I'll set an intention, whatever it is. So we just did a collab with Machine Gun Kelly. I know I've literally this has been planted on me. You've got this collab. It's going to happen in 3 days. We need a recipe, or we need something in the next few hours. To the sauna we go. So yeah, time to get in this sauna. So I sit there and it's like, all right, the intention is, what are we going to make? We have to make something that there's obviously criterias. He doesn't eat this, he eats that, da, da, da. Okay, so now you're limited to like basically vegan, just by chance. Okay, nothing to do with what I make, but now you're limited to basically vegan. Okay, cool. How do we, and it's got to be raw and it's got to be organic. Okay, cool. Right. So now I've got all these hurdles, which I love, by the way. I love having to jump in loopholes, jump through hoops. I'm in the sauna, and then it's like, okay, cool. We could work with like exotic fruits. We can make a fruit salad. We could do dry ice, and I like see everything. And because I don't write shots down, it's like I can see the whole video, which sometimes is almost quite freaky because like I'll make something and it's like I've seen it, or like something happens in the room and I've seen it, and it's like it's not like I know exactly what he's gonna say, but it's like things happen, and it's like I think just to visualize, that's how I personally do it. What's your approach to creating things that don't exist?
I am very similar. For me, I'm very visual. So when I sit in meditation, whether it be in the sauna or whether it just be in this room or in the park or when I'm walking, I can see how my perfect day is going to go. And if I want an opportunity, I will visualize that opportunity coming to me in the way that it's going to come. For example, if I want a specific person to speak to me that potentially has that opportunity, I will visualize them coming to talk to me and asking me about it, for example, which has happened before. It makes you laugh. It's like, wow, you can create your reality, and I talk about that a lot on this show, about instead of living by default, when you practice mental rehearsal and visualization, you powerfully set intentions, whether it be to the universe or to God or whatever you believe in, but that energy, right? It teaches your brain to search for those opportunities. Luck is preparedness meeting opportunity. So when you set an intention, when you visualize, you are prepared. So whether you believe in manifestation or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is, you're just more prepared. So what I do is I prepare every single day. I get up an hour earlier before I'm supposed to, and I take that time to sit, to breathe, to ask my body, like, what do I need to know? What do I feel right now? Where is this coming from? I am curious about any sensation internally and then externally. Okay, what does my perfect day look like? What do I need to do today? What energy do I need to be in? And then from there, I set like gentle reminders throughout the day. Okay, check in. And then at the end of the day, usually reflect. Okay, what did I do really well? What could I have done better? And then what I'm grateful for, because gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. That's my process.
I love the way you set intentions, like we set an intention before this podcast as well. Is that, how many times would you set an intention a day? Is that a a constant thing, like
Yeah.
meals and
Before you get in a car, before I went to the festival on the weekend. All my friends kind of giggled and laughed at me, but I'm kind of just used to that now. I just, roll with it, as can sometimes be the woo-woo lady. But I was like, all right, everyone, we're going to go into the festival. We're going to be safe. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to be all together. We're going to have like a bubble around us to protect our energy. And it's going to be just so great. A great day out. The weather's going to be amazing. We're going to get there on time. We're not going to miss out on anyone we didn't want to see. And we literally got there on the perfect time. The line, we just flew. No waiting around. We just got straight in. We did not miss the first set that we really wanted to see, even though some people in the car were stressing. I was like, no, we are going to make it and it's going to be perfect. And that kind of thing happens all the time. So if you're running late, if you have got too many things that you need to do, you need to delegate, but you don't know how. Like, what I actually have learned, a bit of a side tangent, but also useful, is writing a list of things that you need to do and then a list of things the universe or God or whatever you believe in can do for you. And it's not about demanding, but it's more so setting the intention to ask for help, to receive. Because most of us, we try and do life on our own without realizing that there's so much more support than just doing everything by ourselves. So for me, okay, some things I actually need to do to be human throughout the day. But there's other things like needing someone to call me or getting a meeting sorted that I've been pushing for a while, or an email reply back. Rather than triple texting, why don't I just put that on the universe list of things to do? I can relax and know that that thing is being sorted in a way that's for the highest good of myself and all.
Makes a lot of sense. I do that kind of thing unconsciously, actually. I set my goals every month, and like some of them will be like a goal like, I need to buy mum flowers. Bang, that's like whatever's up there can't do that for me. But then I'll also set a goal of like to receive a life shifting opportunity, So it's like, yeah, the balance of both. I think that's really cool.
When I first met you, Jordan, like you are very open as a young male as well. And I get really curious about people when I meet them who are open, because I know, like, just as a societal like conditioning, not a lot of young men specifically are open like you are. And I think you're a fantastic role model for people out there that, want to become the best version of themselves and create that success in their own life. So I guess what I'm asking is, one, how did you come across all of this like conscious knowing about like your vision and where you're going and that determination? And two, maybe some advice for the young Notty Chefs out there that are listening and maybe starting out on their journey.
I think my ability to, I really appreciate that, Jesus Christ. I think my ability to be so open comes from, I've got to give thanks to my mum. She's a relationship therapist. So when it comes to emotions and stuff, it's just like second nature. We always talk about it. But I think for me personally, I've got like a proper old school geezer dad, like army, like beer and football and that kind of don. So I've got balance, like, sort of talk about emotions with mum and, it's very sort of manly stuff with dad. So I've been in both worlds. And I think I've learned just to hold a space with me and my boys and that. So like we tell each other we love each other and stuff. And I think that's always a nice place to be, to tell the people that you do love around you that you do love. It's never a weird thing. The second part to your question was
the advice to the Notty Chefs out there that are starting their journey or maybe wanting to learn more about how to be conscious and self-discovery, but not sure where to start?
Well, I think, listen, no matter what you're doing, start it yesterday. Okay, you need to be on it, because a day will turn into a week, will turn into a month, and all of a sudden life will have gone in front of your eyes, I truly believe that Earth is like a training ground for the soul. And at one point you will be 60 looking back and be like, fucking hell, why didn't I go in the street and talk to more girls? Or why didn't I start that business? Or, why was I so fearful of what my parents thought? You need to actually have a bit of fire under your belly, and go and get what you want. And I think, within that, when you're creating something that doesn't exist, there is no chance you can do it without religion or spirituality or, become spiritual sooner. I'm very lucky to have some pretty cool mentors, very, very established, wealthy, just great people around me, and all of them are spiritual. All of them are religious. All of them are attached to something not worldly, you know? And if you think this is like woo woo and stuff, I ain't woo woo. But and the people around me, like, they're not fucking woo, you know? It's like, it's a real thing, you know? Create something that doesn't exist, because that is the most beautiful thing you can do in this life. We were created in the image of God. I think innately we are just creative beings, and no one will create something like you can. You know, you've been put on this earth to create. We create innately without even knowing. The way that you drive home, if you take a different route, that's creative. The way that you make a breakfast, that's creative. Like, you can't help but not be creative. The way that you put your outfit on this morning, that's creative. So just expand that, you know, instead of like just putting an outfit on. If that's, you are into fashion, fucking go do something with it, whatever your thing is. But yeah, I promise you, when you create something that doesn't exist, you'll become spiritual anyway.
And it's like the ideas that you all get, whether it be about business or what to wear or what to eat, like the one that sticks around, that thing that you've been wanting to create for a while now, it's in your head for a reason. Like, if it's an idea, it's not just a silly little idea. I feel like so many of you might be listening thinking, oh, that's crazy, or don't be ridiculous, or be realistic. But is that voice actually yours, or is that the conditioning of your society or your environment? Because if that idea has been around for a while, it is no longer just an idea. It is now a message.
And it needs to be in this universe. There's a really cool story. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you may have an idea, you don't work on it, and then all of a sudden you see it on social media, or you see someone else create it, and you'll be like, oh my God, I thought of that idea. That's because it needs to be in this world for some reason, and you have been chosen to be the vessel for it. And if you don't do it, then it doesn't become real. And I think that's why I eat so well and stuff, because we are vessels for information. And Michael Jackson once said, Michael Jackson would wake up in the middle of the night and sometimes go like make music, because he famously once said, if I don't make this song, Prince will. And it links back to that thing of like, the idea is meant to be in this world, and if you don't go and act on it, someone else is gonna, man. So go do it.
I love this so much. This has been incredible chatting with you today. Thank you. How can my listeners find your page if they're wanting to follow your Twitch, follow your Instagram, TikTok? Where can they find you?
Everything is the Notty Chef. Notty is Notty. The reason Notty is spelt wrong, normally it has a K, is because I used to have, because I have let me do that again. Notty is spelt wrong because of my dyslexia, and the reason it's Notty is because I used to have dreadlocks. So it's a little fun fact for you. But yeah.
Well, there you go. I love that. Okay, and last question for today is, if you were to tune into your heart, your intuition, what does the audience or whoever listens to this episode need to hear right now? And it doesn't have to relate to what we've spoken about today. What do they need to know?
Start yesterday. Please just start yesterday, because a day turns into a week, that turns into a month, and all of a sudden you haven't done it, you know. There's no urgency in this flipping world, I don't think, anymore. You know, we're all attached to our phones and stuff, and I just like, please begin it. The hardest bit is just beginning it. When you don't want to go for your run, the hardest bit is to get your shoes on and open that door. Once you're out on the street and stuff, it's actually all right. You got a bit of a high, you got your music in. It's like, oh, I actually kind of like this. But it's just like the getting started. It's the when no one's watching. But I promise you, you know. And I also just want to say, just to finish off, is label yourself that thing. You know, when you tell people, be like, yeah, I'm a social media creator, even if you've got no followers. You know, like, I'm a Twitch streamer. You got 18 followers? Yeah, man, no, but I'm a Twitch streamer. You know, like, we all get labeled things in this world. Like, that's the bad kid. That's the pretty boy. That's the tall guy. And it's like, we stick these labels on us. You have to actually peel some labels off. You know, I'm not creative. Chuck that away and like put some things on of like, yeah, I am a social media creator, because that's the hardest bit, is to actually own what you do when it doesn't exist just yet.